ever since I first started creating my own music, my own videos and writing, I have always fallen into the same trap of having absurd expectations. I'm still an amateur in my artistic pursuits, and yet the expectations that arise in my mind, they just don't align with where I'm at in my journey, and they only serve to hinder the creative process. These expectations are a little bit annoying, and I seek to resolve them within myself. So first I have the expectations of myself. When I go ahead to create a new piece of music or a new bit of writing, I want it to be perfect. You know, I value excellence. So when I create something new, I want it to meet a certain standard. But then when I go ahead to create the thing, I just can't quite satisfy that need for excellence, and I'm only left feeling disappointed. For example, when I have composed a piece of music, I save a little bit for a solo. I don't compose that. I say, well, I'll just, improvise when I come to record it. And then when I come to record it, I go for the solo, and it sucks. But the reality of the situation is that my skills and abilities just don't match the expectations that I have. My expectations are up here. My skills and abilities are still down here. And I'm wondering why there's this big gap between those two things. And then I have the expectations that I place on my work. So sometimes I will create something that I'm really proud of. The whole creative process is something new. I'm stepping out of my boundaries. I'm being more creative. I'm doing something that's exciting. As I'm doing the final touches, my mind starts to explode with all these different thoughts of like, man, this piece is so cool. This is gonna be the one. This is gonna be the piece that's finally gonna crack things for me. But it never is. The response just never matches the expectations that I place on it. And I'm only left feeling disappointed. Instead of being really proud that I broke my boundaries, I did something new, did something that I didn't normally do, and created an awesome thing, instead of acknowledging the great things that came out of this, I'm only thinking about how it didn't meet the expectation that I placed on it, and actually it's not very good in the end. That just shouldn't be how it is. And yet my mind still plays these games. So the reason why I'm raising this issue of expectations is because I'm currently undergoing this massive transformation in my own artistic pursuits with making these videos. This is a whole new creative process for me, and it's so much fun because it blends my music, my filmmaking and my writing all into one, and it's just a new form of storytelling that so far I'm really enjoying. And I want it to stay that way. I want it to stay in this free-flowing, natural, pure, creative kind of zone. And I'm a little bit worried that expectations will come in and just spoil everything for me. I don't want that to happen, so I thought I'd address this issue for myself in nature and come up with some solutions. So the first thing that I'm going to focus on is just always working on the next project and not dwelling so much on any one project. No matter if I think it's really great or I think it's kind of poor, doesn't matter. I'm just going to keep moving one step after the other, one project after another. I think this is a really powerful approach because it means that we're constantly being refreshed. We're not staying in one place. We're always working on another project. We're always being creative in new and different ways. One trick that I've discovered so far to this is working on multiple projects at once. So not just focusing on one thing, but kind of having a few different things on the go. And once you finish this one, you can just move smoothly into the next project and not worry about whether this one's getting a good response or whether you think it's bad or you think it's great. Doesn't really matter, right? Just moving on to the next project and focusing on that. I think this is all about getting back to the creative zone, you know? The reason why I'm doing this, the reason why I love to do this, is because of being there in the moment, being in a flow state, when things are clicking, ideas are flowing, and it's just this headspace that is really beautiful and really awesome. And with this approach, it's always about getting back to that place, you know? Always getting back to the creative space, working on the next project, and always being refreshed. The next point that I'm thinking about is to always remember that art is a lifestyle. For me, making music, making videos, and writing stories are what I love to do. And it keeps me active and busy. Always having a project on the go, it gives me something to be excited about. It gives me something to sink my teeth into. Being a creative person, being a creator, when we're working on something new, it keeps our mind active. It keeps our imagination working, and I think there are just so many benefits to that. One such benefit I've found is that I am never bored. Boredom is not a thing anymore because I always have another project to look forward to. And the last point is to always remember that art is a journey. You know, it takes a long time to become masterful at something. Imagine if we could become masterful at something overnight. Wouldn't that be boring? I know, it would certainly be boring for me. It's the hustle, it's the hard work and the discipline and the breaking of my boundaries and these things. This is where I get the thrill. You know, it would just be boring if I could click my fingers and reach 1 million people with this new piece of music and crack out an epic solo just like that. It would be boring. And I think it's really good to honor and respect the journey and what it takes to become really good. And by the time we reach that place, it'll be so much more worth it. I don't know about you, but I find particular joy in seeing how my skills improve over time. I look back on how I was 2 years ago, and I see the music I'm making now, and I'm thinking like, man, that's awesome. So, with all those points in mind, the strategy that I'm adopting going forward is to turn away from those expectations and not worry about them, and instead just focus on creating stuff and being consistent. I feel like the only way to really get to that place and get to that level of mastery is to just keep creating the next project. And so that's what I'm focusing on this year, is to just keep creating the next piece of music, the next video, the next piece of writing. And just keep building on that, because it's only by being consistent and actually completing projects, that's the only way that we can really reach that masterful level. And that's the approach that I'm taking this year, and I hope that I can also inspire any of you guys to also take the same approach and create more stuff and be more creative. Hey, thank you so much for watching this video. I'm really glad that you joined me out here on this beautiful day, and I wish you the best journey ahead.